G'day and welcome to SCLeaks. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Hater. How you doing, mate?
Hey, I'm tired. I've been up since 12 a.m.
And we're also joined by our first guest, DG360. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm tired. I've been up since.
What, 10 minutes ago?
What's going on?
Yeah. That's all good. So, DG, tell us a little bit about yourself. You do a lot of community-based content. You like that interaction stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I love it. I love to talk to people and get their kind of feedback on what they think about new information. That's one of the reasons I love to be on the show right now. It's because I get a lot of my information from SCLeaks and Hater, and that's something my community says a lot. Is like, hey, don't you think Roberts should be releasing some of this information too? And I'm like, well, you gotta keep a little bit back. That's why I like Star Citizen Leaks, man. So like I go there, I find out a lot of information before anything ever hits, and boom, it's like 50% of my news comes from Star Citizen Leaks. you know.
Good to hear. Good to hear that I am serving the community.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. In fact, a lot of people have like stigmas to it. I don't think so. For me, I welcome it. I think it's great what you're doing. I really think it's great what you're doing, Hater. So, like, kudos to you, dude.
Now, you were telling me just before Hater got on this morning, how old's your son? You were just saying something really interesting, and it was interesting. Please share, if you don't mind, about the age of your son.
Oh, my son's 16 years old. Yeah, he's a year younger than Hater.
Yeah, so that I felt that was very poignant. Yeah, very very impressive what you're doing, Hater, at your age. So yeah, kudos to you, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, seriously.
All you're gonna do is just get more people saying, reiterating the fact I said "big boy" like 12 times.
That's so good. So, DG, how did you actually get into Star Citizen? I believe you were you in ED and you kind of transitioned from ED?
It's an Elite Dangerous boy. Yeah, I started playing there as a pirate in Elite Dangerous and taught other people how to like not be afraid of PvP, and it did really well. I had a series called Bringing the Dangerous, and because my theory on Elite Dangerous is that it's all elite and no dangerous. And it was very hard to find people in the game. So I was teaching people how to use community goals and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, along the way through Elite Dangerous, people were talking about Star Citizen, and I got involved with Star Citizen right before 2015. And back in the days where you just had the hangar and the Frankenstein kind of movements. And I was just really impressed with the detail. Like the detail is what caught my eye. Just like, wow, like the ships were just amazing that I could res in the hangar. And I just had a great time with just going inside the ship, something you can't do in Elite Dangerous, but will eventually maybe do in Elite Dangerous. But I don't like the fact that in Elite Dangerous, there's a billion systems. They're spread out so far that like there's not a lot of player interaction with other players. I feel like Star Citizen's going to give me more player interaction.
What's
that
saying?
That's kind of what I'm...
wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
So
it's very similar to that.
So where can people find you if they want to interact with you and your community and have that kind of engagement?
Just type up DG360 in Google and you can find me. And I generally focus on Star Citizen. I do other things, but for the most part, I really focus on Star Citizen.
I think my favorite part of the stuff that I've seen you do, because I'm not a numbers person, is you do a lot of counting stuff and like you kind of break down that stuff. I know they only release that once a year, but when that stuff comes out, your stuff is like really on point. Like it shows, you kind of structure it and you go all through and it shows you like you break down where they're spending the money and if they're doing right or if hey, that looks a bit weird, they've fudged those numbers there a bit. So I found that really interesting the last couple of years.
I think the business side of it is very important as well as what we're seeing, also like knowing what's going on at the company, because it is a company after all. So like a lot of people don't focus on that, and so I figured, hey, I might as well bring a little bit of my experience and offer some content to people that are interested. So I get a lot of hardcore industrial members, a lot of traders, a lot of miners, a lot of people interested in industrial based kind of activities within the verse. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
You might like what Hater's got to show you today, then.
Yeah,
he's got some good stuff.
I'm seeing Hater, a picture here.
Yeah. What are we starting with today, Hater?
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of what we're about to show you today. This first chunk of the show will just be about little data mine stuff that's in an Evocati build. Stuff appears all the time, and this is just going to be a chunk of that stuff we found this update. So first we're going to start with the new refinery system, the one that's going to be in stations. We'll talk about that refinery ship later. But refineries should be up in the next update. They have... it seems like they've accidentally implemented the entirety of the UI they have for, or at least the entirety of the system they have for refineries and stations. So, very brief overview of this is that, you know, you go to your station with your mined materials, these unrefined materials, and you go and you get them refined, and they're worth more because it's magic. That's just how it is. Basically, the way CIG currently has it is that if you come into a station, you unload your cargo inside of a refinery. You could choose which cargo you put into the refinery. So let me just quickly glance over all these leak notes right here. Basically, you choose from the materials that you have in your current ship. After selecting your ship, obviously, you choose what you want to refine, and then you choose a type of processing you would like to do. Currently, CIG has it, so there's 5 types of processing, which is... all of this is placeholder, by the way, so these descriptions will change 100%. But it seems like this is... typically, it stays around the same type of idea. So try and come around, like, trying to grasp the idea rather than, like, the actual, like, what I tell you textually. That will change 100%. When PH is in front of the name, it will change.
So are we going straight into, like, refinery stations like this, or are we just going to have a shop to start with, like, from what you've just said there? I think, is it just shops first?
It's more likely than not that there probably won't be an independent refinery station.
Right.
It's probably just going to be
like a terminal.
The military stations that are attached right now for Fleet Week.
Oh.
From what I've heard, those are actually work in progress, like refinery or cargo stations. Then they just threw some UEE stuff on it, but that's something that's gay. Yeah, I'm not 100% on that. So you can get your materials refined either fast and careless, fast and expensive, fast and thorough, slow and careless, and slow and thorough. Why there's no slow and expensive, who knows? But those are the 5 options you got. Now, obviously, yeah, it will affect time, it'll affect price, but apart from that, just selecting what materials go in, selecting what materials come out, and just going through 5 different options, 5 processing options, seems to be the entire loop.
Well, my brain's going to, like, a certain materials can be better at different like processing rates. Like, so some cheaper materials you won't need to be very thorough with, but like something like, you know, Quantanium might need to be more slow and more thorough. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. DG, what are your thoughts?
I like the fact that you can actually, like, load this in according to the information I have, and you can not be logged in at all, and it's still refining your goods.
Oh yeah, of course. That's
awesome.
Yeah. The big thing about that, because when you said that, like, some materials might be better, it seems like CIG is also experimenting with the idea that a refinery would have a competency. The description currently for this is seems to give evidence that a refinery, say like one is attached to whatever station's above Microtech, that one's good at refining like iron, but one at like ArcCorp might be better at refining diamonds.
Oh, so you get different outputs at different stations. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So you're going to want to focus on certain stations that are, you know, based upon your raw material. I like that they're introducing more content with trading lately. I've noticed a lot more focus towards trading, mining, refining lately. So I'm very happy to see this. This is awesome.
Also begs the question, like, what's that going to be like with your own reclaimer or refining stations? Like, are you going to have certain components to be able to do it in a particular way? So if you're trying to refine a particular material, is there going to be a set of components that are best for that material, and how much are you going to have to chop and change? Interesting. Right. What's next?
You're gonna have to know your skill. You're gonna have to know your skills. So like they're creating another tranche, like they're creating a refining kind of career now. Like if you're a refiner, somebody focuses on refining, you're gonna know where to take it. You've done the math. You know the homework. You know which station to take, whatever goods it is that you're looking for to refine. You'll say, okay, I need to go here to refine it. Yeah. I love it. Like between the cargo decks and now these stations, I love it.
It's up in the complexity and needing to know those little nitty gritty things. So like it's an experience thing. Yeah. Oh, I like that too.
Well, it also begs the question of like how's it going to work for the Orion? You know, once that gets into the game, like as far as the refining is concerned, you know.
No doubt. I totally agree that but it's definitely upping the complexity level. Mm-hmm. All right, what else you got, Hater? What's next?
Okay, so we're going to move on to racing missions and just what they're experimenting on that. Current person on the screen is Luca Brunt, who will basically be the mission giver for racing missions.
Right.
Now, it seems like CIG has already removed scramble racing, but it seems like in this update, I'm not 100% sure of this because it's not even caught yet, but it's looking like the reason they've moved... whoever the mission giver was for 310, they moved them out so they can lean towards this mission giver, which I don't even know why they don't have an entry yet. But basically, CIG has implemented 2 main missions. Back to scramble racing, you'll go to Luca Brunt and you will like get a scramble race. Like you'll enter for a scramble race, you'll wait until someone else enters, and then you will be entered into a scramble race with other people, possibly AI, who knows.
So is that like instead of having these multiple scramble races that had all over the freaking place, they just have one location you go and all the scramble races are in one place?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. This guy looks like a bit of a smug asshole, I'm not going to lie. He
really does. Smug right there.
Yeah. All right, but at least they're going back and using tech that they created, and it's not going to be completely wasted. And I think that's why they're doing it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it'll be all around Grimhex. I mean, there's definitely going to be a Grimhex. There's a racetrack built in the Grimhex. There's definitely going to be at least one scramble race of Grimhex. But I wouldn't be surprised if it'd be Stanton wide. But instead of it just being randomly accessible from all over the system, creating a problem where you have to get to the area, it'll be a little bit better managed, so maybe it'll be all over Gila or just over that section of the Stanton system. Yeah.
So to me, the way I would fix a problem like this is I would have had 4 or 5 places in a system, or you could even go across the system, and basically you fly from wherever system you go to, but it's one race, and the other ships are represented by holographic ships. So it's like real ships racing holographic ships depending on your location, but it's really one race that's raced throughout the whole system. You get my meaning, and it's the same track duplicated at each location. That's how I would have done it, but
I feel like they're going to have issues with AI too. I just feel like it's going to be a cluster. Like I would love to be able to gamble with other people now that we're going to get wall-to-wall transactions in 310. So to have these publicly listed, to see the people in the race and to see the positioning of the races would be cool, because you could get your friends there and gamble on okay, I'm putting 20,000 credits on this dude or this NPC or this player and have a lot of fun. You can just gamble.
And think of the other way it can go, the player interaction where you're going to I need you to throw this race.
Well, right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, dude. Right.
Well, speaking of throwing races, there's the second mission is something I'm not sure is actually given by Luca Brunt, but it's definitely related to racing. It's called Pick and Destroy, where basically you are ordered to just pick a racer and then just kill them. I don't know why. Wow. There's no description for the actual reason, but you shoot a race. The description of the objectives is shoot a racer to confirm target, pick a target, and kill them within the given time.
It sounds like things that happen around a hex.
This is definitely the Grim Hex based one, but I'm not exactly sure who gives it.
That's interesting.
I tried looking for the exact mission files for it, but it seems like there's only localization entries for it, so I couldn't dig too deep into it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Scary times. Alright, what do we got next?
Okay, we're just gonna it's just a very quick, off the cuff one. But basically, player trading app. I mean, like,
All
entries
right.
are in there for it. The only thing I think that's an addition to what they've shown over the ATV or ISC or RTV or
Whatever
SC
they call it
Live,
this
I
week.
don't know. Yeah. Two things. One, the app is called Citizen Trading Application. That's a placeholder name, but it's boring as hell. Isn't that a great
They need to
name?
spice it up a little bit. Just a little bit.
Bit Citizen Wallet. Anyway, next.
Oh yeah. Okay. So basically, the other thing is that you not only can you give AUEC with it, you can give merits in Space Prison.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Give me all your
Yeah.
merits. I can see that, or I'll shiv you.
Yeah, it'd be great, especially once they make it so you can't access your Moby Glass in prison. But that's
true.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a
So
special
true, dude.
prison. Well, maybe you can go up to a console and use the Citizen Trading app in the console at the prison.
maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, nothing much on that. It's just a little interesting little thing, just an addition.
Okay.
But something along the lines of interesting, yet not the biggest news in the world. Just move on to the next one real quick. Is this the Sawtooth combat knife?
Deadly.
Teased a while ago. Yeah, this thing's has new entries specifically for 310, which leads me to believe it's definitely being implemented.
Okay.
There are 4 variants of this thing. One of them is obviously the regular one you see here, and 3 more with epic rad names in blue, brown, and red varieties.
Oh my god. Yep.
The Riptide Sawtooth Combat Knife, the Duststorm Sawtooth Combat Knife, and the Supernova
They're probably
Sawtooth Combat Knife.
subscription based, I reckon. They're probably for subscribers, maybe.
Yeah, usually that's the golden rule. You get 3 random variants of something. It's either if it's either a ship that's about to get 3 variants, or it's a goddamn subscriber item.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say about that. It's a knife. We've seen it before. What, how many ways can you stab someone? I'd be way better with like a really dirty prison ship one. That's what I want. Like, you know, like I don't know. It's just me.
Yes. Rusty. Something rusty.
Yeah, just like
This looks like it could open different types of bottles of alien beer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you could do something pretty snazzy on the backside of that.
Or deadly.
Let's move on to the next.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's move on to that next one. Basically, delivery mission improvements. This is actually a lot more major than I expected CIG to implement without advertising the living hell out of it. This seems to be essentially what they advertised on the roadmap a long time ago, except it's just not there right now. Like, this is the commodity timers. This is just the enhancements to like general readability, interplanetary deliveries, interstellar deliveries, inter-system deliveries, or whatever you call it when it's just between satellites rather than a new planetary system, and even inner landing zone deliveries, which is what that new oxygen mission is a part of. Basically, CIG has been just to go over the first half. You imagine that Spider-Man pizza theme in your head, because oh boy, you can be a pizza delivery boy at New Babbage, or you can be a burrito delivery boy, or a drug delivery boy. Either way, you are a delivery boy in a local.
Sounds like they're sending all of us back to our teenage years and those first jobs we had.
Yeah.
Whoa, no. Okay, that's
This
not for
will
me.
not. It won't pay good money, 100%. But
So you
it
think they're
looks
more tailored at like starting ships and stuff? So people like in the Auroras and the Mustangs and stuff.
I mean, there are missions for them as well, but just to begin with, like, they're now local. If I don't want to leave this landing zone, I could deliver this and just do this mission real quick without having to leave. There's going to be a couple of those now. There'll also be just planetary deliveries. So, like, I want to do this delivery on Hurston. I have to, but it's entirely on Hurston. Then you have something in the same planetary system, so I deliver it from somewhere on Hurston to Aberdeen. Then interplanetary. Hurston to Crusader.
Right.
Then you got Inner System, which is way farther along. Which, like, there's no entries for it, but it's definitely going to be implemented whenever jump points come in. Interstellar. There's definitely the routes for it here.
This is just more A to B kind of delivery stuff. I wonder if it's going to pull from actual, eventually from the quantum. You know, when that's introduced, I wonder if these missions will actually pull from actual commodities within the game, or how they're going to treat it.
I believe there's already an aspect of that implemented, but I'm not 100% sure on that. However, it appears, I've been talking with some of the modders. It appears they have the capability of doing something like that.
Well, that's good.
But it's something that's a little farther future before they say it's official, I'm guessing.
Right.
I mean, a delivery mission...
I feel like this is an upgrade for people who maybe have larger ships. Like, these missions might be more for people who own larger freight ships right now, want more money. Is that the way they're going to do it, Hater, with these missions?
Well, I'm guessing probably. I don't know the exact payouts for every mission. I mean, as you can see at the current screenshot, which is kind of going to be a bit of my later point. Something that's going to come with these improved delivery missions is an improved multi-delivery mission. So currently a multi-stage delivery mission, it's just, hey, you have these 3 materials, deliver it to here, here, and here. No relation to those locations. You just have to go to 3 separate places. Now those 3 separate places are changed. You have to go from here, grab that from there, and then bring it to here, and then grab that, and then you got to bring it to there. So it's instead of having like A, it's now A, B, C. This will be like this alongside several very big like location improvements. As you can see from that mission right there, it tells you in the description where you're delivering stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something that not every delivery mission has for whatever goddamn reason.
Yeah, I think
that's
these more complex.
See a lot more.
Definitely for like higher based, higher base pay for people who are a lot more serious and getting paid a lot more creds than the usual. So that's encouraging for people.
Definitely.
Speaking of those higher based pays, CIG has also implemented delivery ranks. You get your bronzes, you got your silvers, you got your golds.
So is that
do a delivery?
Like how quickly you do it? Is it time based or?
Yeah, it's time based. Basically, if you do a mission quicker than not doing it quicker, then boom, you get some bonus pay. There's an incentive to be fast now, rather than keep 15 boxes in your ship.
So it's like
spread them out.
Star Citizen Olympics or something with the bronze, silver, and gold. But we'll have to see how that pans out. Wouldn't have been what I would have chosen, but I would have had ranks like 1, 2, and 3, not like, well, they got the star system for rating people. I would have kept it within that. I wouldn't have made it a whole new thing, but anyway, I digress. What else have we got, Hater?
Okay, so this one's we're going back to minor bits now. So we got the Starlifter and the Star Runner ships that are coming very soon. They have gotten entries now, so we're just going to read off their little descriptions, starting with the Starlifter. Utilizing the patented Hercules-grade, military-grade space frame and expanding cargo capacity, while sacrificing barely any firepower, the C2 has taken the private sector by storm. It has become the industry standard for racing teams, ship dealers and manufacturers, construction orgs, mining corporations, and even large-scale entertainment outfits. Is the description of the Crusader Starlifter implemented in 3.10.
And you got any idea when that'll roughly be coming into the game? Would you say by the end of the year, or?
Well, I mean, is it not? It's the next ship on the roadmap, right? Or is that the Star Runner?
Star Runner's first, from what I remember.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, 4.0. I mean, that thing is almost done. Honestly, I think the Starlifter is actually farther ahead than the Star Runner right now.
Interesting.
But that's just fucking hearsay.
You would imagine they'd put a lot of work into the Star Runner because it was pretty popular. Like anything that seems to be popular, they seem to really take their time with it. Hence, the Carrack, the Merchantman, and this. Anyway,
well, that's less from them being popular because it's more so because they've worked on it 3 separate times, and they just don't want to scrap all that work. The difference between that and the difference between these ships is that these ships have probably gone straight from concept to a release-ready form.
Okay.
Seer will be happy about that.
Yeah, he will be. He will be. Don't you worry. You got anything on the Star Runner or?
Oh yeah, the Star Runner's description. The Mercury checks all the boxes expected of a dependable courier vessel, and then some. If you need it there fast and unscathed, you can't do better than the Mercury. Built with the same engineering and design principles that has made Crusader the go-to manufacturer for galactic transport at any scale, the Star Runner chassis sets new standards for data and cargo conveyance. That is the description for the Star Runner. Coming next update. I don't know.
No, it says the Millennium Falcon. That's all they needed to do. But anyway, that's good. No, I think this ship is definitely with the information based on removing the engine so they could get a rover into it. This ship has just totally destroyed the Constellation for most people. And now they're not reworking the Constellation, which they've stated. I think a lot of people are going to switch to this.
That.
All right. What do you give me your opinion?
I feel like they'll give the Connie some type of love because that seems like that's Chris Roberts' baby. Like Chris Roberts seems to be, like attached to that ship. So I would imagine that you're going to see something happen to the Connie eventually.
I think the Constellation might have Squadron 42 connotations, and I think they've done animations inside the ship, and I think that's why they're resident to not do a rework. I think if anything,
right now,
yeah, well, you know how they did like reworks on the Hornet and stuff, and they said, in the future they'd like to sell upgraded versions of ships. I think we might see a redone Constellation down the line, and people can pay money to upgrade to that. Yeah,
right. Like eventually, like Chris is gonna be like, aha. I made this ship the best ship that there is.
Yeah.
Well, hearing from some of my more scrupulous sources, basically the deal with the Constellation is it's not going. I mean, obviously, it's not going to get that full rework because, again, what you said, Squadron 42 and a bunch of metrics connotations. But I do know it's getting a touch-up sometime before the Taurus or with the Taurus. Either way, it's why they haven't really touched the Taurus, because they want to kind of touch the Constellation series first. There's some big issues with the series. I mean, have you played with the Constellation series lately? There are big issues with it. Well,
it's in a really bad spot, man. We've at It For Runners, we've done a couple of shows on it, and there's always discussions going on in our Discord about like especially like the other week when they said, "Oh, we're not going to work it anymore," and people were just like, there were pages and pages of like, how can they not be working on this? But yeah.
Well, I think it's important to say, because I don't know the exact details, because it's been a couple months since I heard it from this guy. Basically, they never said they aren't going to touch up the Constellation. What I believe they said is they weren't going to rework it. Okay. There is a huge difference when it comes to language there, and they did not want to set the expectation that you are going to get a freaking Vanguard style rework or touch up with that goddamn ship. Which also reminds me, just real quick, that M50 rework, because I think we'll get this published before the M50 rework goes live on Evo servers. That thing's only going to be an interior rework. They did not want to touch the exterior attach.
So just like a new cockpit hard turbo.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's all they did. They experimented with the outside, but they were like, why? Come on. Okay, so we're just gonna move on to the next bit because chassis, and I feel like we kind of overdone that. So Greg Hat Rock, because we're just gonna go over bits and pieces of more fun things, stuff that isn't data mined. This stuff is basically it's a mixture of speculation and actual scrupulous source material stuff. So take stuff with grains of salt. You guys understand what I mean, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So is this you got the stuff on the rock? Because that's the next slide. What's the stuff on the rock?
Oh yeah. Stuff on the rock, basically. I think we tried to iterate this through that episode, but we figured out the title of the rock being called the Grey Cat Rock probably 3 hours before that episode went live.
That's why we didn't know what it meant, because we don't even just got the info.
What does it mean?
Yeah,
We don't know.
I still don't know what it means.
Oh,
But,
There were some really good options though in the comments. I think
yeah, I dug the comments section.
My favorite one was recommend other concepts. That was my favorite one. And then there was like I think probably the most serious one was like remote operated remote ore collector. It was probably the closest one I think I found. Yeah. But yeah.
So basically, the deal with the rock is after taking another look-see into the good old file tree and whatnot, we thinned down just 2 details I think just that weren't iterated in the episode, and I feel like just need to be reiterated real quick, or just kind of just thrown down out there for people to know. First things first, the Grey Cat Rock is called the Grey Cat Rock. I have found several insurance entries in there and like things that explicitly mention it is a vehicle. The Rock is the title of that rover, unless for some goddamn reason they changed all their marketing materials 3 weeks before release. This thing is near 100% being released for 310, if not 310.x.
Yeah.
Like this thing is, it's there. It's
okay.
there.
Awesome. So that's something we can definitely look forward to real soon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's just move on to this next part because.
So, can we skip this one or?
Oh yeah, no. This one. This was just a little filler image. This next one though, okay. So I'm gonna just iterate again. Sometimes sources get to me a little early or late in the thing's development, and sometimes it's a month or two before after I hear the information when I iterate these things. So things change. So basically, we're gonna do a rundown on every single Citizen Con ship because I've heard I've kind of teasing what's been in development, what hasn't been in development. I feel like I have a solid amount of details on every ship that we can kind of do a basis over it, except for one of them, which we'll get to later. But this Asperia Talon, that is the name that I've heard iterated through a couple sources now.
Right.
This ship is because if we wait, I did want to wait a little longer to hear some more stuff about this because I thought they would move forward the Rock a little bit more.
Okay.
But Alien Week happening kind of changed things around, so I feel like if we move forward with the name, even if it is or isn't right, because again, this thing was in concepting when we found it, like mid-early or mid-late concept. So like late enough concept that Talon was probably a solid name, but early enough in concept that the manufacturer wasn't solid. I mean, so, it's a Devarin fighter.
So
that's the style guide.
Is there information in the code that leads to this is going to be a concept ship, or is there actually stuff in the files that show that it's going to be like a physical, like flight ready ship?
Okay, so there's a very good rule of thumb for whether or not something's going to be a concept ship.
Right.
I didn't find it.
I found diddly shit. Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. That is going to be my trust me, there is several shelf ships we'll talk about eventually.
Right.
That follow this rule, even though they were like the Ares, technically concept enough. Stuff like that. That stuff just doesn't touch the files much. It's very rare there's an entry until after the ship is revealed, because sometimes they do like a light white box and they accidentally throw it in the files. I think the only example of an actual concept ship that's ever actually peeked its head out was the Centaur Yi. For some goddamn reason, there's an entry for that, but there's no entries for some other concept ships.
Interesting.
It's not a science. Let me just say that now.
Have you got anything that kind of points to when this will be, like the concept sale will be, or anything like that, or is it just soon? TM?
The fact that I know the name again, Asperia Talon, that's the name, obviously. I don't 100% know that's the name. I know they were still talking about the name, but once they start talking about that name, that means it's coming sooner rather than later, because that's when they start on their marketing materials. I would say, because I heard this probably like 3 or 4 months ago, this is coming with if it's not Alien Week, it's going to come within the next quarter.
Okay. What's your thoughts on that as a ship, DG? Like, to me, it seems like
I'm not quite sure. At least it seems a little light to me. I mean, it's probably a light fighter. I mean,
Yeah.
2 size 4s and nothing else. I'm not quite sure exactly what that means. I mean, that's from CitizenCon, obviously, we're seeing here, but I'm not quite sure. I need a little bit more on it to be excited. I love Tavarin, like I love the design of them, but it's got to be a little juicier for me in order to like bite for something like this, you know.
Well, it's similar to the Defender in a way. You got the 4 guns on the Defender that are S3s, and then you've got this with just 2 S4s. So it kind of I can see where they're going there. So this is kind of going to have like more punch, but I think
a little bit more punch, right?
But it's going to be very similar in vein to the Prowler, because the entire reason why this Talon has gotten so much work, or relatively more work than the next 2 ships we'll talk about, is because of that Prowler. Everyone was horny for it, and they want to make sure they make that horny money.
Let's reproduce the horny.
It's all about
we need more horny.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. No, I can. There were a lot of people. But
it's a great looking design. Like the ships are different compared to other ships. You know, like that's one of the things I love about Asperia as a manufacturer. Like when they do works that are like the replicas of the real things that they put in the game. Like I love Asperia. It's like one of my favorite manufacturers beside Drake. And so like all the ships being alien ships, they put a premium on them. They sure do. Yeah. Like all Asperia ships, they like jack up. Like I think they could, like all the Asperia ships, I personally think they could reduce the price for as far as how effective they are. But you're not really paying for that. You're paying for look. Like every time you buy an Asperia ship, it's always look. It's always alien. It's always horny, sexy. Like put down that cash. You know?
Yeah, I like for me, I think that the other reason they might be doing this is a lot of people found the Prowler really overpriced, as you were kind of alluding to, and I think this will definitely be cheaper as a single fighter as opposed to like a gunship. So I don't know. I'm like, you look at the other alien ships and Santoki Iron stuff. I'm looking at anywhere from 150 to 250 is where I'd imagine it will end up landing. Hader, DG, do you guys care to have a speculative guess on where you think it would fall price wise?
I'm gonna say over 2.
All right.
I'll say 2. I'll say 225. They'll put a premium. Like they'll put a premium on it.
It's a light fighter. I actually do not believe for a second this thing will have more than 1 shield, especially with that shield.
Do you think that they won't put anything else with this though, Hater? I mean, like, do you really think this is just like 2 size 4s and that's it? Like, they're gonna have any additional, like, they're gonna put missiles on this thing?
Not a thing. It's
a
scope fighter.
That's a massive.
Then it'll be lower price.
Punch, man. That's a massive punch.
Yeah.
They are selling this thing entirely because it's an alien ship. That is just it.
Yeah. Well, I hope they go under 200.
We'll have to wait and see.
Again, it's why they're moving forward on it. It's such an easy thing to design.
Right.
All right.
What's not easy to design is our next slide, which is this Xi'an cargo ship, except it's not the one that's really cool, which I love the hell out of. But basically, this Xi'an cargo ship, it's had light concepting work. I mean, it's had less than a Talon from what I've heard, but then again, it could just pop up. Like, I was given some like odds about whether or not the Talon or the this would be revealed. I don't have the name of it, but I was given like 25-75. But to be honest, that guy sucks at probability. I don't think he took a statistics class, so
he's not a gambler, right?
I'm still leaning towards that Talon, but then again, anything could happen.
It's an interesting size class though, because like I'm just looking at the numbers here on the screen. You've got like 300 is SCU. That's like half the size of Caterpillar. It's meant to be a competitor to the whole B, but then that's bigger than some of the other cargo class ships as well. So I'm interested to kind of see where that, like, how popular it is. With cargo being such a like most of the ships in the game are combat or cargo. So, do you guys think there's another? Like, I know it's alien, so remove the alien part. If it was not an alien cargo ship, I would say there's not a need for it in the game at the moment. But being alien, there's definitely there's a need for it.
There's something special about this ship, which will be demonstrated in the next 2 screenshots. You can just flip over them at will or whatever. But basically, the Xi'an cargo ship is something that they've been working on for Squadron 42. Something that it's basically just an alien little location, but they've kind of have this style guide going for it, which basically what they didn't reveal during that SitCon presentation, or they've just changed how it's working, is I've been told that this cargo ship is basically just a smaller version of this thing. I mean, like way smaller. But,
so you think this will possibly be a bigger Xi'an cargo ship that they sell at another date? Like, is that
not
no
ever?
Oh, they're
Not
never
even...
they're never going to sell this one. Okay, all right.
That's too bad. I got really excited.
He got really horny. Yeah, right.
Very horny.
There's a reason. There's a reason that this is a big ship,
right?
And especially for cargo. And it's just a brief overview. It's something that's being if you look for these screenshots, it's pretty easy to find because we only threw 2 on here to save time. But the big thing about the Xi'an cargo ship design guide, up doesn't matter to him.
Oh,
you can
any
walk
gravity
on the fucking walls. No, there's gravity, but you can walk on the walls. It basically means that like cargo is a bit more free flowing in there. It's a very interesting design.
Kind of mishmash. Yeah.
Like
their designs tend to be all over the place. Like if you look at it, this thing transforms what I'm looking at here vertically. Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, they're 3 separate. They're actually 3 separate concepts, and they could go on any 3. Gotcha. But yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, is this going to plan to like do a transformation or no?
Well, you'd have to imagine it would.
Do we know anything about this?
Being other Xi'an ships, you'd have to imagine. Like the only other Xi'an ship you could relate to is the Catwall.
You can see like Misk takes influences from Xi'an tech, so like you saw the Reliant kind of change, you know what I mean? So like I'm wondering if like any future Xi'an from Aopoa, which is strictly like Xi'an manufacturer, would then have also like a transformation component to this, and maybe that's one of the sexy things about this ship. I don't know. That's just me speculating.
I think you'd have to like at least look at the Cartual and imagine that there's some kind of transformation involved.
Right. The Cartual as well. Yeah. Right.
Well,
it seems like most of them do.
Yeah.
I think the Cartual is the best example here because for one, how they say on this that image right there that they want to lean towards a new Xi'an manufacturer. That's something that I've heard is something they want to stick to, and they are going to lean off the Cartual because that's kind of just known for Apoa. Because like 2 Apoa ships they released kind of just look the same.
So almost like Apoa is their combat manufacturer, and these guys would be more like their hauler manufacturer. Is that like a slightly type of thing you're alluding to, or am I?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I wouldn't say like there's a specialized cargo manufacturer at all. I'm just saying is that I think they're going to lean more towards that Squadron 42 cargo ship design rather than the Xi'an fighter stuff that we already have in game revealed to us. The more blocky but interior very like wild,
all over.
Yeah, it looks like Picasso went in and had a field day inside this ship, didn't he?
They're all very abstract. Yeah, I mean, like they're all very geometric. Like a lot of Xi'an tech, like is all like very geometric, abstract looking.
I will note this is
I love that.
There was, I will note this is a bit old. I mean, the style guide's kind of followed in later concepts, but this one's definitely changed a bit from what I hear. But I don't have many more details than that. Speaking of not having any more details, we should move on to the next ship.
Let's do it.
The Refinery. Now, this was voted the most popular, so I'm surprised it wasn't rushed to the front of the list. And to me, when I look at it, that is clear. All 3 different versions of the concepts, they look very Misk to me. I don't know about you two, but like that middle one specifically looks a lot like the cab on the Endeavour, as an example.
So here's the reason. The Rock was the easiest. The Talon was definitely going to be the most popular release. The Xi'an cargo ship style guide's already been created, and just making a smaller one of that's kind of easier.
That's true.
This one's entirely new.
So it's not a Misk ship. It's a new manufacturer, is it?
What? Oh, I mean, no. What I mean is that like, even though it's Misk, this one's kind of like this one in part with the It's just because it's like going to be a medium-sized thing. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
it's one-man crew either way, but like
Yeah, well,
it's a refinery ship.
okay.
It's medium-sized either way.
A lot of industrial
This
players
one's
looking forward to this.
Yeah, well,
like because you got a lot of teamwork concept. Like people who mine, all they want to do is be able to mine, like sit there and mine. And in order to do that, you need to drop the saddlebags, and you need a ship that can come in, take the saddlebags, refine the goods, come back while the miner's still like. This is a ship that I think a lot of industrial players are looking forward to. This refining ship.
You got the Prospector, so that's why I was saying I just didn't think it would be that much higher than I know the Prospectors are small, but you know, they got some elements there from MISC ready to go, and you got stuff.
Well, I mean, like in the future, when you start to see these saddlebags be able to detach once you fill them up from a mining vessel like a mole or a prospector, you'll be able to drop these, and this refining ship come in and should be able to load the saddlebags somehow, and then take it off of the mining site, take it to the stations we talked about at the very beginning of this, refine those goods, and then come right back and do the same things, like rinse, wash, repeat. Like, here's your buckets back. Take, you know, like there should be like a level of planning in regards to this. And I think this type of ship is the type of ship people are looking forward to the most for the industry, because you're going to see a lot of cooperation between people with these two types, like a mining ship and a refining ship. You're going to see that.
Probably a bit more than that. It's going to stop you from having to actually go back to the shops, because you can just refine on the location.
Right, exactly. It's gonna streamline things. Exactly.
Anything else you want to add to that, Hader?
It's just something this is the one ship that I just know jack shit about, because it's just not been touched much. Like, as much as I love to speculate over it, I don't feel like
there's
I'd
not
really
enough
be able
there
to do it justice when nothing is actually being done by CFG.
Nothing's on there.
Right, well,
I mean, of course, it's been worked on. I mean, it's probably being worked on. It's probably being worked on to the lowest capacity right now.
Right. Well, keep us
on the back burner.
Yeah.
Well, the mechanics involved obviously are not in the game. So it's the same thing with what we saw with the Cutlass Blue. You know, like they have the Cutlass Blue. They brought it out, and you can see those pods in the back, but they're not operational. You know, because the mechanics aren't there yet. Once the dragging mechanics get involved, then you'll probably start seeing a little bit more attention being put towards, you know, what you're going to do and how you're going to be able to place people in there. A lot of people in my community were like, okay, well, that's great. It's just a copy paste of a black. And I think that's a little simplistic of a viewpoint. It's like, in form, it looks like it. In form, it does look like it. Like the black, the red, and the blue in form, they all look like it. But in function, they are completely different. You know, the blue, you're going to have to figure out how in the hell you're going to get somebody into those pods. Same thing, we're looking at this refining ship. You're going to have to say, okay, how in the hell are we going to be able to take these saddlebags from a prospector and a mole and then load them onto this refining ship? So that's like what Hader's talking about. It's like, this is probably something on the back burner, because, hey, beams. We don't have these mechanics yet. Yeah, right. Like, we're just letting you guys know it's there. We don't know how in the hell we're going to, put the game design in.
Might even, being a MISC ship, they might even use some of the tech from, the telescopic stuff on the whole series. They might even make it so that they can fold up a bit and then unfold to carry more saddlebags and things like that. And then they've also work out the refineries
all
themselves.
The types of things that I like get a headache over. Like, oh my god, like, let's see the mechanics, let's see these things start to work so that we have this gameplay, So I don't want to talk about it anymore because I'm starting to get a headache.
Right. What's next, Hader?
Okay, so we're going to talk about Pyro.
Ooh.
So Pyro, basically, here's the thing. It's going to make the end of the year. That is something I've been assured.
That's
from
what I was going to ask you,
source.
dude. Thank God.
But here's the not bad thing. Split up.
Don't do this.
Like Microtech. Okay, so here's the deal. First three planets, Pyro 1, 2, 3. This is Pyro 1 and 2, I believe, if not 2 and 3. 3 Pyro planets. Those have been like the guaranteed entries, along with like the moons and satellites and whatnot. Those will make it in.
Right.
First update, 100%. I heard they're trying to get 4 in, but like there's like 6 moons on 4 or something. So I don't know. The thing that will 100% not make that first update, it's going to be Ruin Station. You want to know how much work's been done on a Ruin Station?
0.
0.
Oh,
got it.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to imagine that the people that would work on that are actually working on Horizon, and that doesn't really need much planet stuff because it's just all floating in the clouds. So while they're working on that, the planet people, because they don't need to work on Crusader, they'd be working on the Pyro stuff. It makes sense to me. And then they've just split it up. So once they finish Horizon, they'll move on to Ruin Station. I guess that's logical to me.
Yeah. But yeah, again, a lot of this. I mean, we still have an entire year ahead of us, or an entire half a year ahead of us. But that split, that's how they're gonna do it. That's how they're making end of year 4.0. They're splitting it up.
So we're probably gonna get.
So we'll be able to go there, but there won't be much content once we get there.
I mean, there wasn't going to be much content either way, man. Ruin Station wasn't much.
I was really looking forward to the station. Yeah, but like really, like it's a place. Here's the thing: it is much for people that play like as pirates, because like you're going to see people who are more involved in PvP go to Pyro, whereas people who are more involved in PvE are going to stick with Stanton with the law system as they like upgrade the law system. So it doesn't really give a lot of people like a home base that are strictly pirates, except staying around the Hex area. Maybe that's why they focused on the racing and the gambling and everything to make people, satisfied with that.
Okay. I feel like that kind of covers it, except for one last thing. One last little thing I'm going to tag to the end here. It's not really associated with image with it. But Vulcan, that's
really?
also end of year.
Interesting.
Except not. Okay, so the deal is that developers are kind of having some light feet on it, or however you say it. Light feet, short feet, or whatever. It's something feet. Doesn't
Cold
matter.
feet? Is that the thing you're trying to say?
Yeah, cold feet. That fucker is kind of not making that. It's people are doubting it's gonna make the end of the year. There's been some issues lately. It's not exactly related to COVID.
So that means drones are being worked on then. In short, is that kind of what you're saying? Because that ship relies super heavily on drones.
Oh, drones? No, I'm talking about Vulcan. Not the Vulcan, not the ship. I'm
talking about the tech.
I'm talking about the Vulcan engine.
Right, now we're on the same page. I'm like totally different place. Right, okay, sorry, no, my bad. This is the problem. They name things the same and you get confused. Okay, all right, the Vulcan, right, I'm with you.
Let me reiterate. The Gen 12 renderer has an end-of-year target.
Right.
It still has an end-of-year target. It will probably not make that end-of-year target. However, that's something that they're targeting. That's all I can say on that.
Okay.
Right.
So is that kind of still similar with the server meshing? Because they were aiming for end of year with that, but he was at the end of CitizenCon last year. He reckons it'll be a bit longer than that. So they're integrated, aren't they? The server meshing in the Vulcan, or no, not at all.
I don't know. I don't work on the game.
And there goes my famous ringtone.
I knew your phone had to make an appearance.
Yeah, it had to. It never not doesn't. All right.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, his phone hasn't gone off. This might be the first time I've ever heard his phone not go off.
Yeah, I'm terrible. All right. I think that's everything, isn't it, Hater?
Oh, yeah, that one. That is literally everything. I mean, I can go on all day about the
cool
Dart,
info.
the 400i, and a bunch of other shit, but like that's another episode, another day.
Yeah. All right, DG, it was great to have you here, man. I hope
thanks
you
for
learned some
having me,
stuff.
guys. Love it. That was awesome.
Yeah, and you can find DG by searching for him in Google, apparently. And and he'll be live streaming several times a week. I know you do that, and you also have your YouTube channel, and I come there and harass you regularly. So I'll be doing so regularly.
Guys. I had a great time.
Yeah, awesome. If you like what we do, feel like subscribing, ring that notification bell, all that jazz. If you feel like supporting us even further, we've got patrons. They'll be up on the screen in a minute. He's been DG, he's been Hater, I've been Execute, and we'll catch you in the next one.